Go. Yes?
Yeah.
Good? All right. Okay, the common origination point for the forearm flexors is the medial epicondyle. That's why when you put your thumb on the medial epicondyle, when your fingers down your arm, those are going to, okay, wait a minute, let me back up. There's 3 layers of the forearm flexors. There's three layers. The top layer, the superficial layer, has 4. The second layer has 1. The third layer has 3. So 4 minus 1 is 3, if you want to remember how many is in each layer. So the superficial one has 4 muscles. With your thumb on the medial epicondyle, with your fingers going down your arm, so you're mimicking where the common origination is, going down your arm. Your index finger doesn't go down your arm really, it kind of crosses over, and that's where the pronator teres lies. And then your middle finger will be the flexor carpi radialis, your ring finger will be the palmaris longus, and your little finger will be the flexor carpi ulnaris. And they sit down there in a PF fashion, so pass, fail, pass, fail. All right, so P would be the pronator teres, F will be the flexor carpi radialis, P would be the palmaris longus, and then F is going to be the flexor carpi ulnaris. Okay, now, if you couldn't see it all that well up here, just know that we can also look at the wrist, which is, if you notice, the palmaris longus crosses superficial to that white band. That white band is the flexor retinaculum, and the palmaris longus crosses superficial to it. That's why you can make it pop up when you kind of squeeze your hand or squeeze your fingers together. You make that palmaris longus pop up because it's not held down by the flexor retinaculum. Okay, and from there, the palmaris longus branches out into the palmar aponeurosis in the palm. But again, if you were just to look at this down here for trying to find your way around, the palmaris longus crosses superficial to flexor retinaculum. On the radial side will be the flexor carpi radialis, and on the ulnar side is the flexor carpi ulnaris. That's still in the superficial layer, the first layer, top layer. Then underneath that, there's just one muscle, remember 4-1, and that's the flexor digitorum superficialis. Yes, you can see it here, but more importantly in the fingers, because it doesn't go all the way to the tip of the finger. It comes down in a V fashion, and the flexor, this other one, flexor digitorum superficialis, comes underneath it. All right, so that V is here, I don't know if you can see it on that video or not, but it's the flexor digitorum superficialis. That's in the second layer. The third layer has 3 muscles, 2 that you have to know. It will be the flexor digitorum profundus. Now we can do this, whereas with the superficialis, flexor digitorum superficialis, we can only do that. Flexor digitorum profundus allows us to do this because it goes to the tip and lets us do that. Okay. And then the other deep one of that third layer is the pronator quadratus, shaped like a quadrilateral deep in the wrist. And then as far as innervation goes for the forearm flexors, they're all median nerve except 1.5 muscles, which is the flexor carpi ulnaris, ulnar in the word, thus the ulnar nerve, and the ulnar half of the flexor digitorum profundus is ulnar nerve. Okay, on the extensor side, we're going to start, there's 6 muscles that we can count superficially over. All right, we're going to find this one here, which is the brachioradialis. Now, the brachioradialis is a forearm flexor. However, it shows up on the extensor side. It doesn't have, as its common origination, the medial epicondyle. It goes superior to those onto the humerus. But we're going to find the brachioradialis. Incidentally, that's the only flexor that's innervated by the radial nerve as well, because the radial nerve does all the extensors. Okay, so the first one in that list is the brachioradialis. The second one has 2 heads. First head is the longest head of this extensor carpi radialis, so extensor carpi radialis longus. The second head is the brevis side, which is the extensor carpi radialis brevis. So there's 2 heads there. So the first one, brachioradialis. Second one has 2 heads, extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis. Incidentally, those are the only 2 muscles that we're covering now that have 4 words in it. Makes up for it by going to the 4th muscle over, which does the 4 fingers, which is extensor digitorum. You write it, walk away. Extensor digitorum, there's no superficialis, it's nothing, just extensor digitorum, that's it. Does the 4 fingers. Drop your pencil, walk away. Then the 5th one over does the 5th finger. Right? Extensor digitorum minimi. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's extensor digitorum minimi. Then a 6th one is extensor carpi ulnaris. Now, there's one other one, but it's a little bit deeper. And there's two fingers that have their own extensors. Because if you remember, the extensor digitorum does the 4 fingers, but the pinky has its own, called the extensor digiti minimi, and the index finger has its own, called the extensor indicis. Okay, so if you look at, but up in here in the back of the hand, you'll see 2 tendons. On the radial side of both fingers, it's going to be extensor digitorum. On the ulnar side of those 2 is going to be the extensor, and this one will be the extensor indicis, extensor digiti minimi on the ulnar side. Okay, and then this white band is the extensor retinaculum, and then 3 more muscles to go over. That is the anatomical snuff box. Well, and 1 more, 2 in the anatomical snuff box and 1 below it. But that's the brevis sandwich. Extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus, and the sandwich comes in because it's a longus, brevis, longus, and brevis is in the middle. Extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis, and abductor, abductor pollicis longus. That's it.